Giving animals the chance to live as naturally as they possibly can is very dear to my heart. Luke Stanley Winder, I'm a pasture-based regenerative agricultural farmer. 250 kilos. So the idea of regenerative agriculture is, the first principle is that you're improving the land. You're trying to improve subsoils, topsoils, perennial pastures, quality of product, your own lifestyle, your own mental health. Everything should improve. Everything should be up on the up and up. Generally speaking, you're going to get a lot more healthier animal. It's going to have had a much happier life with a lot less stress. Every practice that we use, it's just really basic stuff, but I think that's why it's so fantastic in my eyes. They are intelligent animals. They're smarter than the dogs. And they've proven it a million times over because they outwit the dogs all the time. And they're just beautiful. When you look into an animal's eyes and something comes back, like you can see something back, like with the cows and with the pigs, I guess they're the animals you become. All the staff here hate doing this, and I say, I want to do it. I don't know problem with doing it. One, I really enjoy the milk. Like, there's that aspect for me. Like, I know if I put the effort in, I'm going to get this beautiful milk. I know my kids are eating this beautiful milk. It's so good for them. So I guess I've got that other element. But I don't know, how often you get to sit next to a 400 kilo cow and just, she's such a beautiful animal. I don't know, you really share something when you do this with the same animal every day. It's a very stringent rule of mine, definitely not to put down any other methods of farming, because any farming family I've met, either be confinement or otherwise, have been beautiful people, and that's just not a direction I want to go. We're in the southern tablelands of New South Wales, in a place called Wombeyan Caves, and we called it Tathra Place Free Range because we were living in Gymea Bay in a street called Tathra Place, and we kind of wanted to tie our two sort of premises together. In hindsight, it was a horrible name because everyone thinks I'm from Tathra, and I spend half my time at the market explaining that we're not from Tathra, but you know, it is what it is now. It's too late to change it. How long have I been farming regeneratively? I started about 3.5 years ago, and for whatever reason one day I let YouTube go, which is a dangerous game if you've ever done it, and it stumbled on this Joel Sallet, and I watched this guy and I saw what he was doing on 100 acres. I went down the rabbit hole, and I really was enthralled with what he was doing. And then unfortunately my father passed away, and I couldn't get it out of my mind, and I started looking, where could I get 100 acres and how far away would it be? We were living in the Southern Shire at the time, and convinced my wife to let me buy this place. And it started out, it was just going to be come out and let the boys run around and have a place to go, and then one thing led to another. First there was a few chickens and a few pigs, and next minute we're full up. So now we're looking for more land, which is exciting. But that's how I sort of fell into it, and unfortunately, for a lot of people, there needs to be a catalyst to kind of jolt you in the right direction. And it probably took the death of my father, unfortunately, because we had some pretty in-depth conversations on his way out before he did lose his speech. And he inspired me to kind of, there's not enough, you ain't getting enough time here to waste. So pull your finger out and do something you want to do.
Oh my God, should hear their little hearts.
We don't use any worming agents, B12 shots, immunisations. There's no pesticides, herbicides, glyphosate. There's no petroleum fertiliser. My wife doesn't even let me use fly spray in the house. That's why we've got the boom operator going nuts here, because he's got flies all over his face. The bison never line up for a drench, and the zebra on the Serengeti don't line up for a drench, and all the birds in nature aren't getting fed antibiotics routinely through their water. The way it works is, there's a few different things. Essentially, the number one thing and the key thing that I've found is, don't leave your animals where they go to the toilet. I mean, how simple is that? If you leave your cows in the same 100-acre paddock and they're sleeping next to where they go to the toilet, yes, they're going to pick up worms. The whole idea of multi-species stacking in the regenerative ag system is that they're moving constantly, same as animals in nature. You're never going to see a herd of a million wildebeest stay in the same place for 3 weeks. They're moving on, they're moving away, and they're leaving their waste behind. Forget the chemical free part, that's great, but just free ranging an animal. You free range an animal, you give a pig grass to chew on and roots and bark and tree sap, and God, they'll chew your boot off if you give them half a minute to do so. The flavour of the meat is completely different. The broilers that we run, it's a darker flesh. You don't stick a 2 kilo bird in the oven and get a 1 kilo bird out. I mean, the benefits of these methods of farming and the chemical-free methods of farming are completely endless, and I implore you to look down that rabbit hole and find what I found and appreciate how important it really is. The benefits of grass-fed, grass-finished are the flavour and the fat. You go to any farmer's market or any butcher anywhere that's got genuine grass-fed, grass-finished beef, and you are going to see this big, thick layer of yellow fat. Now, I tell my customers, and they all think I'm mad, go home, cut the meat off, throw the meat in the bin and eat the fat, because the nutrient value of that fat is astronomical. Same deal with the pigs. You get a pig that falls out of its mother, lives its entire life in a paddock, all the vitamin D from the sun, and vitamins A, K, D, the oleic acids, the amount of nutrition that's stored in that external fat is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. I mean, the thought of anybody cutting off my pork fat and throwing it away, give me a bloody heart attack. The benefits are all the way through the duck. The chefs routinely comment about the amount of fat that they render off one of our ducks as opposed to a factory farmed unit. The quality of that fat, what they can do, the way it reacts when they put it in their broth, they put it in whatever other dish they're using the duck fat, because it's often very widely used in restaurants. So there's so many benefits. We're in a lot of Michelin restaurants and sort of high-end restaurants, and really proud to be able to say that. It's a real honour. Consider I've been doing this for 2.5 years. We've got some really good company. My market customers, I'll say that with a giant smile on my face, have taken my company from buying eggs out of my garage at Gymea Bay, through to market stalls, all the way through to buying online now, and just incredible support. A lot of them have been out here. What's my most successful or most popular? Financially successful would be the duck. Personally, where I rate my success is definitely with the swine. I hate the idea of any animal in a shed, but especially a pig, only because I know how intelligent they are. And if I can be successful raising free-range animals and giving them the life that we give them, I guess morally that's the biggest success for me. So I get up very early in the morning and we go down to all the chicken pods, because our chickens are living properly free range just in the middle of paddocks. Come back to the shed then and fill up all the buckets for the pig feed and go around and feed out all the pigs, which is always a very violently noisy sort of a setup. We'd normally follow that up with feeding out some duck food. We do carry a lot of ducks out here and they do eat a lot. Water management, so we make sure that if we need to top up all our water tanks, we do so from our beautiful artesian bore, the Wombian Caves bore.
So how clean's our water? Beautiful. Wombian Caves aquifer.
Another one of the little 1%ers we sort of trying to tick off as far as giving the animals a really healthy upbringing. Then we talk about moving the cows, especially moving ducks. So look, there's always something to do. I don't call it work, put it that way. I absolutely love every second of it.
Where is everyone? Beep! Here they come. Perfect earmuffs.
I'll go out there and lay under the cedar in the snow if I have to.
Love the rain.
The few things that I probably enjoy doing the most here, one is definitely milking the cow. There's something pretty amazing about having a 400 kilo cow that's just willing to stand there peacefully. I don't know, there's something a little bit spiritual for me with that. And where I do it, there's a beautiful view, and that's definitely a job that I love. I've got 3 young boys, the second of which has his own challenges. And the difference we've seen in our children and their behaviour and the respect that they have has been astronomical.
Get me up.
Because Mummy's got to go to sleep.
Where?
Again, when we go back into the scenarios where we used to live, the difference between my children and the children that I've seen is enormous, and that's something I'm very proud of, and I do put that down to the lifestyle out here. Children are given a lot of responsibility on farms, and they're expected to carry their own weight. For me personally, I was privileged to be diagnosed with bipolar disorder when I was 24 years old. That might sound like a very strange thing to say, but it meant that I was forced to learn about myself and the way that men in Australia process emotions and thoughts is pretty rubbish. And this being out here has further benefited my development, my own mental health and the development of me. So it's just been life-changing, I suppose, and I don't use the word work. Anyone that comes and spends a few days out with me and sees the smile on my face, I would be very, very cocky to call what I do out here work. I absolutely love it. I have 100 acres here currently, and we are turning out a very impressive amount of protein off that. I need to replicate that. I need to get hold of more property, whether it be leasing it or buying it, whatever. We're actually in the throes of doing that at the moment. And I need to produce more of this beautiful chemical-free food so that more people in this country can consume it. Getting hold of more land, I can regenerate more land and heal more land, which is super exciting. I can potentially influence other people if they're interested in different areas as far as showing them how to do it, and maybe taking on a few of these methods themselves, and not by me having to be control of the properties, but by influencing other people further down the line, have more people regenerating their own properties. What am I most proud about as far as the business that we've built and the lifestyle that we've built? Definitely my 3 boys and my wife, my beautiful wife that does probably 60% and absolutely carries Tathra Place. Everyone sees what I'm doing out here and I get all the accolades, but anybody that has any idea how hard it is to run a business appreciates that Pia probably deserves more of the credit than I do. But as far as within the business or on the land, I can honestly look people in the eyes now and say that I am improving this land. I've taken it from a weedy, woody disgrace, essentially, that, I mean, the first weed inspection I got a thorough talking to. The weed inspector comes out now, shakes my hand, and we have a cup of tea, and he doesn't even talk about weeds. I'm really proud that I've been given the opportunity to be the guardian of this land, because it's all I have. You know, I might only be here for 50 or 60 years. You know, if I can improve this piece of land for the future and hopefully for my boys, that's amazing. Do I now have more respect for what goes into my mouth and for the animals that I keep? Oh, 1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. And it's hard for me now, sometimes going back into my old life and seeing the way the people that are the closest to me and the people I love the most, and the way that they treat food, and that it's just almost like a, you know, feeding yourself is just something that has to be done, and things go down your mouth without even a second thought of the animal itself or the way it was kept or the life that it had or whether it was paid any respect. Was it allowed to be a pig? Was it allowed to be a chicken? That's probably the hardest part of it now, seeing people just throwing food down their throats without a second thought. I'm definitely not that in that category. And I was talking to the boys here this morning. When you look into a pig's eyes, it looks back at you, right? It's not some inanimate bit of protoplasm that we should stick in a shed and grow for our own consumption. It's a real being. And I think when you've looked into a pig's eyes, the way I have, I think anyone with any sort of a conscience, I couldn't stick one in a shed. If I couldn't run them naturally like this, I wouldn't have them. So I guess just giving animals respect and giving them a life that mimics as closely as what they would have traditionally lived in nature, that's what drives me.